Hello, everyone. Today we have the elegant Serena Curran, MBA, soulful business and manifestation mentor and founder of the Wisely Wealthy Spiritual Business School. Works with Akashic records and manifesting archetypes. With over 25 years of experience, she fulfills her mission of helping transformational coaches, healers, and changemakers of all kinds to create freedom, money, and ease by designing and building soul-aligned businesses that tap into their manifesting archetypes and express their soul powers. This naturally produces wealth with ease, joy, and simplicity. In her work with her clients, she draws upon her training, her experience as a serial international entrepreneur, her background in sales, marketing, and management, along with energy healing, Akashic record reading, and manifestation expertise. Serena is known for her caring, supportive, direct approach, and her big smile. She offers online courses and one-on-one coaching programs to assist her clients in creating a business by soul design. What a perfect bio for a guest on this show. How beautiful. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. I'm very happy to be here with you, Sarah.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been marrying business and spirituality for a heck of a long time.
Yes, I have. And, it was interesting because I've traveled around a lot to different countries, lived in different countries and different states. And wherever I landed, I would make a new business and create a new life in just a very short order. So I have a lot of experience on reinventing yourself and pivoting and creating businesses.
Awesome. I love reinvention. I feel like I jump off the cliff and act the fool archetype as often as I can.
Excellent. The spicier your life then.
Exactly. So I'm just going to dive into the questions and you go anywhere you want with it. But my first question is, what kind of impact do you want to make on the world over the course of the next 5 years? And 5 years, don't limit yourself to that if you need it to be 5 minutes or 5 decades.
Yeah, I really want to leave a legacy of information and support and nurturing for people, for spiritual people to get their gifts into the world and to be able to make good money doing it, to feel good about making good money because that's how we are able to have impact in the world, by having some assets that we can actually use to either support our causes or to support our businesses so that they grow and they impact more people. So that's really where I'm going.
Beautiful. So how has your work shifted in the last several months? I'm curious, with everything going on in the world.
Well, my business went through a big reinvention and an up level. Well, first of all, I was in the middle of teaching a course when COVID arose. And I think it got to April. And honestly, I was feeling like, this is the moment we've been waiting for. This moment of disruption of all of that's been going on, this moment of pause to allow people to really look at their lives, to allow us to really look at what's going on in the world and our culture, and to decide whether this is how we want it or not, if there's something different that we want going forward. May came and my whole business up leveled to a different level, and I redid a lot of things and made some new programs, and all kinds of things went on. So it's been a kind of a very interesting ride, as it has been for many people. I just read something really I thought indicative of where we're at, is that we're all going through the same storm, but we're all in different boats. Mm-hmm. And some of us have the boats that are floating a little easier than others, and so on. And so it's about looking at what your boat is and how what you're going to do to change your boat, if you need to change your boat, so to speak.
Yeah, and that kind of gets into what you do with the business by soul design. So what boat you're in, largely, I would imagine, is impacted by your soul design and your Akashic records. See?
Right, absolutely. The more you align with your soul design, the easier your life is, the more it flows. Everyone is receiving some energetic support coming through them. That's this creative force that allows them to create. And when you're manifesting something, or you're creating a business, or doing anything, when you're inside that flow, everything it moves so quickly and easily. When you're outside of it, you can still manifest. It's just kind of chaotic and difficult and just very hard. So you really want to get yourself into alignment with your soul and that's where the financial flow is. That's where your business flows. And there's information in the Akashic records about your soul, about the soul gifts that you have come here with to express, and about the way that you best manifest, which is your manifesting operating system. And so there's a lot of information available to help you to really get aligned and to create a business that's in alignment with that soul design. Then it feels really good, and it really, it supports you. It makes it easier for you to attract clients. It's just on and on and on, and goodness.
So this is what you do, is when you work with a client, right, is that you tap into sort of their soul design, their Akashic records, to help them align that with whatever it is that they're doing in business. Yeah.
Absolutely. Is that, I have a program called Soul Wealth Map, and in that I go into your Akashic records, and and just in case someone isn't aware what those are.
Thank you.
So, every soul as it travels has experiences, because most people think of souls as being immortal, and so they travel. The soul travels, and it's in this vehicle right now, and there's a record made, an energetic record made of all the experiences of that soul. And it's sort of like a big library, or maybe you could think of it as a database. So you can do a Google search, and sort of not a literal Google search, but a kind of an energetic Google search, and find a particular soul, and I can look at their records and see what that soul has as far as gifts go. But another really vital part of it is I look and see what hidden saboteurs are keeping you from expressing those soul gifts. That's also in your records, and I can tell you what they are. I look at your past lives and tell you where these came from, if it's present or past life, and then we clear those away. Honestly, that's life changing. It puts people's lives on a different trajectory. It's also I give them lots of information about their business, about, what the business structure should be like and their model. And, it's truly amazing. I have to say that I think it's really one of the most powerful things you can do for your business, is to really understand all of that. I don't want to keep on going on and on. I can talk forever, but there's also a manifesting operating system in there, and that information can help you with your client, who you should target as far as a client, what your process of creation is, whether you are better off following the rules or breaking the rules, and how you're motivated into action, so that this helps you to be able to create again in alignment with your soul.
That sounds incredible. I'm like, sign me up.
It is incredible.
What kind of people, aside from myself, resonate with you the most?
Well, it's very interesting. I get all kinds of people, but I get a lot of, I get two broad categories of people. One is people who are in a job and have spiritual gifts and are not sure exactly what to do with them, so that they want to really understand their gifts, and maybe they want to either segue into a full-time business, or maybe they want to have a side business where they're using those gifts. So that's one group of people. And then I have others who come and they've had a business and they've had clients, but they're not having the success that they think they would like to have, or they're working too hard. There's a lot of signs of misalignment. They're feeling very overwhelmed and stressed, and those people come to me as well. But, recently another interesting group of people has come to me, and that is, I did a master class for a mindset coach, and a lot of the people in her group were not particularly spiritual, had not really, didn't really had never heard of the Akashic records, or, weren't particularly oriented in that way. And I think about 75% of them signed up to work with me.
Wow. That's impressive. So they're converts, huh?
They're converts, and it's interesting because
conscious conversion right there.
Right there, conscious conversion right there. Absolutely excellent. And they have to be just open to the possibilities and be willing to hear something new. And then when they see the results, they're like, wow. Yeah, so that's really great.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask about how do you reach people organically? It sounds like you've done these sort of talks for master classes, and these types of things. But are there any other methods that have really worked for you organically?
Podcasts.
Yeah.
Podcasts,
Awesome.
really. I love podcasts, and they work really well for me. So podcasts and doing master classes. I'm just now starting to do a weekly Facebook Live where I'll answer questions and do some readings and things like that. And we'll see how that develops.
Amazing. Well, I'm honored to have you on my podcast, and I hope it brings you lots of lovely people.
I'm sure it will, Sarah. I can just tell by looking at you.
So how do you stay consistent with your marketing efforts?
Well, gee, that was a really bad question to ask me. I have struggled with consistency. To be truly honest with you, I've struggled with it. And I think that for me, I've had to discover how I can create consistency with assistance.
Yeah,
So,
delegation is key, man. That's how I do everything.
Yeah. So I need someone that's doing the consistent part, because I'm not a consistent person in my soul. I'm a variable kind of person. I need a lot of change and different kinds of things happening based on my soul origination, which is another piece of what I tell people about. And so because I know this about me, when I have a coach say to me, you have to be consistent, I'm like, okay, but I'm not going to be the one to do it. So somebody is going to do the consistency behind me, and I'm going to jump in as a variable where it fits me. So that's what works for me.
How do you do that and also stay authentic, especially if we're talking about, social media posting or something along those lines, where it's like, we all know that being authentic is, mission critical, especially as a spiritual thought leader and entrepreneur. And when you're delegating some of those things, as I do myself too, how do you keep that authenticity?
Well, I'm using video. The video is also something I really enjoy doing. And when I teach, I do a lot of video. So I'm using video to allow, to set the information, however that looks for the week. And then from there, there's going to be, some things created from that to be able to create the consistency. So I'm setting the pace. I'm setting the tone. Mm-hmm. I'm setting that, there's a certain tone. I talk about the tone that I need to have for my things. I don't allow posting without seeing what it is.
Yeah. So you mentioned that in the last several months, you've up-leveled and you've shifted some things in your offerings. How do you stay in alignment with your customers, making sure that what you're offering is resonating with them? Well,
the way that I've done it in the past is to look at, when I was teaching the course, I was teaching a course called Make More Money with Ease. And it was based on spiritual principles and soul alignment. And during that time, many of the people in the course had gifts that they weren't using. And so I created a course on how to make an offer. So I kind of listen to what my clients are telling me. I'm hearing a lot about money now. So money is probably on the list for coming up in the, because I always teach a piece about money, whatever I'm doing. And and More Money with Ease, More Money with Ease, it was quite a lot about money. So I may do something that's more focused directly on money coming forward. So I try to just listen to what's coming up for people as I'm working with them.
Yeah, the money things, it's an interesting one, right? It's something that as somebody who grew up without much money, I grew up with a single mom, raised in a trailer in southern Missouri, didn't have money. So I had a lot of work to do on myself and my own money mindset and in order to get where I'm at now. And I think a lot of people who are spiritual thought leaders have grappled with the very issue of money. It's almost, and I've said this before, but it's almost like spiritual people take almost like a vow of poverty at some point, an unconscious vow of poverty. And so I'm wondering, how do you work through that with your clients? Or if you want to talk about your own journey and how you worked through that yourself, either way.
Well, what popped into my mind was when I was living in southern France, the south of France, in Provence. And a woman said to me, you have spiritual gifts and you should not be charging for them. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I think I went home and cried, because here I had spent all these years, all this training, all this work, all this cleansing of myself, because if you're not doing your own work, you shouldn't be doing healing work. So all this cleansing of myself, all of this effort to be able to create change in the world, and I was being disrespected, and really. And I think that sometimes spiritual people discount their own gifts and disrespect their own gifts, and disrespect the fact that, you know, it takes effort to be able to clear yourself enough to be an authentic guide for other people. And so I think it's part about valuing it. It's part about being willing to actually make friends with money. I always teach to my clients that they need to look at their money right in the eyes. Where is your money at? Know where it's at. And I just spoke with a client this week who was like, I don't know, my business, I'm not sure if we're going to make it. And, you know, and to back up and not be in that level of fear or projecting forward, but stand in this moment right now and be asking the right questions, which is, what do I need to do now? What are my next best 3 steps? How do I shift my business so it's sustainable in the future? You know, staying in the present moment and asking the questions and dealing with and being real about where your money's at is part of what I teach. And by the way, you can absolutely have a vow of poverty in your records. Not even one that you can take a vow unconsciously, but you can also have taken a vow ages ago, a vow of poverty. And when you have a vow of poverty in your records, you will not accumulate money. Maybe you'll make a lot of money, but you'll lose it. And, you know, it's also about this vibration. You know, you have to be able to expand enough to be able to hold a certain amount of money. And so there's so many different aspects of it. But certainly that's an issue that's coming up for a lot of people right now. Yeah,
for sure. For so many reasons. I mean, it's money, I think, is up for a lot of people.
And I'm not sure what's going to happen with money.
Right.
I don't like what I see, which is that the Federal Reserve is printing a lot of money.
Exactly.
And I've noticed myself before COVID, I was noticing a kind of an inflationary thing where I'd go to the market and it was always a little more, a little more, a little more. And now things are more because of all the COVID cleaning. And so I don't know where things are going with regards to that. But that's
and then so much more debt is being created right now too.
Right. So I'm not a finance person, but I do think that, you know, we all need to be aware and kind of be paying attention to what's going on there and be thinking about what that means for us.
Yeah. What kind of rituals and routines help you show up in the world aligned and ready to serve your peeps?
I do not do any rituals or routines.
Yeah, consistency is not in your soul blueprint.
I want to say bad. I've tried. I have really tried, and I do need to consistently tune in every day for receptivity. I teach about receptivity and about opening up and receiving. That's another aspect of money, is that if you're not receptive, and that can be in a lot of ways. When someone gives you a compliment, how do you receive it? Do you say, "Oh, thanks," or do you actually stop and take it in? So this receptivity. But for me, I don't like rituals. I'm very an innovator. I'm a free spirit. I have I have 2 primary soul gifts that I came with. One of them is a teacher, another is as or communicator, and the other one is as a power person, which means I'm a manifester. Manifesting comes easily to me, but it's also about freedom and needing freedom. So when you start to tell me I have to do the same thing over and over again, my whole body goes no.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, so I don't have anything consistent, which doesn't mean I'm not tuned in or tuning in.
Yeah.
It's just I do it differently. Going into the woods for a walk or going into nature is, for me, tuning in, is where I tune in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I do that every day.
Yeah, you can tune in while washing the dishes and looking out
Yes,
the window.
exactly.
You can tune
Yes.
in while you're going to bed at night and laying in, in bed.
Exactly.
So
You can, anywhere. But some places, some for everyone. So for some of us, there's some places that are a little better. Nature is very good for me, and it is for a lot of people. By the water and so on, and occasionally I do take a salt. I do something salty if I feel like my energy's off. I'll do a salt. Do some salting on in my shower. Use a paste of salt, stuff like that. So there are things I do, but I don't have a consistent. And I know that a lot of people teach that it's incredibly important to have a consistent routine every morning.
Well, a lot of people teach that that's bullshit too. So a lot of people.
I say it's either bullshit or not bullshit. It really depends on who you are.
Exactly. Depends on your soul blueprint, which you will be gladly help them figure out.
Exactly. I do have a journey, a soul alignment journey on my website that for people to take their own journey. But honestly and truly, if you really want to get the skinny, you need to have a reading.
Yeah.
But anyway.
What's your next level? How are you going to impact even more people with your mission?
Well, I think for me, it's about getting just developing my audience, growing my audience, and getting in front of more people and doing more teaching of spiritual principles. So that's my plan. I do have courses. Will be developing more courses, and eventually we'll have some courses. I'm also putting things on YouTube, so I'm doing those things to try and reach more people.
Awesome. Well, that takes me to one of my final question, which is how can people find you?
Well, they can go to my website, which is probably the easiest way to find me. It's serenacurran.com. It's SerenaCurran.com. And there's freebies on there, and you can join my mailing list. There's information about the Soul Wealth Map. I usually ask people to book a call with me, because I like to talk to people before we go on the journey together. Awesome.
You've also got Facebook and Instagram.
And YouTube. I do. But I'm going to be really totally honest. I'm terrible. Social media and I have not gotten along because of this consistency issue and all these other things. And Facebook to me has gotten, there's so much on there. I don't know what to say about it. So.
Well, if you ever need to navigate those waters, I'm your girl. Hit me up.
I know you are. And I may do that in the future. Right now, I've got, since everything shifted, there's a lot of things that are being redone. And so there may be a moment not too long in the future when that might be possible.
Beautiful.
Sarah,
I'd be honored. It was wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much for being on the show. And thanks y'all for listening.